Have you ever wondered why some people seem to draw strength from their darkest failures, almost as if setbacks become their secret weapon? The ancient Stoics mastered this art, unlocking a powerful mindset that transforms defeat into unstoppable fuel. Prepare to discover 7 rare Stoic lessons that will forever change the way you face obstacles. How Stoics turn failure into fuel. Stoic transformation strategy, compiled and published by Stoic Dominion. Lesson 1. Embracing setbacks as inner fire. Imagine a lone lantern flickering in the dark, buffeted by winds on all sides, but instead of being snuffed out, its flame dances higher, bolder, more brilliant. In the tumult of everyday life, this is what setbacks can be. Not the end of our progress, but the beginning of our inner transformation. Each disappointment, each failed attempt, each bitter moment that threatens to drown us in self-doubt is actually the hidden fuel that the Stoic mind learns to cherish. We live in a world where setbacks often feel like walls collapsing inward, trapping us in stories of inadequacy or shame. Who hasn't lain awake at night replaying a harsh rejection, faltering performance, or missed opportunity, feeling the sting long after the event has passed? Perhaps you see others wearing their confidence effortlessly, while you struggle in silence, the disappointment smoldering in your chest like stray embers you wish desperately to extinguish. It's this smoldering pain that many hide from the world, a gnawing sense that failure defines us, that each stumble chips away at our worth. Emotional mastery seems just out of reach, reserved for those we call strong or unbreakable. We try to cloak our disappointments behind humor or silence, wishing away the gnawing questions. Why do I falter? Why does it hurt so much? Why can't I simply rise and brush off the ashes? The reality is, most of us have been taught to run from pain, to avoid discomfort, and cover up our scars rather than seek out the lessons within. Setbacks then become a source of shame, proof, we believe, of our inadequacy, a heavy burden we carry quietly. In the struggle to maintain our composure, we miss an ancient truth. The greatest resilience is not born out of untouched ease, but out of trials endured and learned from. The Stoics, whose quiet discipline shaped emperors and sages alike, offer a radical reimagining of what failure means. What if, instead of running from setbacks or burying their memory, we approach them as essential fires, a forge where our character can be refined with every blow? Consider the archer who bent steadfast over his bow, misfires in swirling wind. Some may call it defeat and walk away with head hung low, but the Stoic learns to study the wind, to observe his stance, and with each failed arrow, to gather wisdom and skill. To the Stoic mind, each failure is an invitation to examine, adjust, and grow. The flame within is not meant to avoid the storm, but to burn even truer because of it. Embracing this mindset transforms setbacks from obstacles into opportunities. Imagine setbacks as logs thrown into the hearth of your resolve. Instead of choking the flame, they allow it to rise greater than before. Choose to greet your disappointments as teachers, not executioners. When you approach each challenge with awareness, your mind shifts from anxiety and regret toward constructive reflection. The secret of Stoic resilience is not cold detachment, but active engagement. The decision to meet pain with clarity and learn what it has to offer. This inner fire, when tended with patience and openness, fuels lasting discipline, courage, and a peace that does not depend on undisturbed circumstances. As you allow setbacks to light that silent fire in your soul, emotional mastery gradually becomes second nature. You become the steady captain, charting a course on high, unpredictable seas, learning not just to endure the waves, but to let them hone your skills as a sailor in life's turbulent waters. Through this practice, a powerful transformation occurs. The fear of failure gives way to curiosity. The dread of imperfection transforms into a hunger for progress rather than perfection. Self-judgment morphs into self-understanding. You become less concerned with quick victory and more devoted to lifelong growth. What once felt like glaring defeats reveal themselves with time as the very sparks that lit the dawn of your strength. The invitation now is gentle yet powerful. Whenever you falter, resist the urge to shrink or lash out. Instead, ask, what can I learn here? How can this moment forge me stronger, wiser, more resilient? As you train yourself to welcome setbacks as sources of inner fire, your emotions become tools, not traps. Your defeats, blueprints, your stumbling, a necessary rhythm in the dance toward true mastery. The flames that once threatened to consume you now become the silent fire that illuminates your path ahead. Notice your setbacks, pause, and reflect on what each can teach you. Write these reflections daily, then choose one small action to apply your new insight. Each time you do this, your confidence grows and emotional strength deepens, slowly transforming pain into power. In our next lesson, we'll unravel how to accept harsh truths without ego, so you become not only resilient, but also wise. Share your thoughts below on how you've turned setbacks into strength, and join us for the next step in your journey. Your story could inspire someone today. Lesson 2. Accepting harsh truths without ego. Picture a clear mountain lake at dawn, so still that it reflects every cloud and trembling star above. In those depths, there's nothing to hide. No ripples to distort what exists, and the world as it is stares back without judgment. This is what it means to confront truth bravely, to let hard realities shine upon our lives without panic or denial. Yet for most, accepting truths that sting or challenge our ego is rarely so peaceful. Within each of us, there is an instinct to protect the image we show to the world, or even to ourselves, an urge to smudge away the cracks and flaws in the mirror. Whether it's a mistake at work, a disappointment in our personal lives, or a weakness we've tried to conceal, the natural first response is to resist, reject, or rationalize. That resistance, that spontaneous tightening in the chest when we feel exposed, is something nearly everyone faces. It is the nemesis of true emotional control and self-mastery. Very often we run from the very lessons that could set us free. Perhaps you recall a moment of strong criticism or unexpected defeat. Instead of examining it, you armored up, making excuses or shifting blame onto others or circumstances. There is safety, after all, in denial. This shield keeps the ego intact in the present, but erodes our power to actually change and grow. Many live buffered by these invisible shields, unable to access the vast reserves of self-knowledge hidden beneath mere defensiveness. Our culture sometimes celebrates pride, teaching us that to acknowledge error is to appear weak or inferior. Yet look deeper and you will see, this stubborn pride is often just a brittle shell, imprisoning us inside the same repeated mistakes, dissatisfied and secretly fearful. Discomfort may be natural, but it silently robs us of authentic connection with ourselves and others. The Stoics, who weathered storms not just of the flesh but of the spirit, found transcendence in accepting reality clearly, no matter how harsh the lesson was. They teach not to collapse under criticism or grow cold with self-loathing, but to meet each truth, pleasant or painful, with open eyes and a steady mind. The solution, as ancient as it is revolutionary, is to welcome reality with humility, to listen for the learning in every blow. Imagine yourself as a sailor guided by the unerring light of the stars. If you refuse to accept that you are off course, you may sail for years in the wrong direction. But if you recognize with honesty the jagged rocks ahead, you can correct your course, letting wisdom sharpen your journey. In practice, this means creating a habit of fearless self-observation. The next time you are faced with harsh feedback or a difficult truth, pause rather than defend. Notice the inner wave that rises, a heat in your face, a spiral of excuses in your mind, and choose instead to wonder, what if this can help me improve? There is profound strength in softening to receive the lesson without letting your ego dictate your response. The power of this approach is transformative. By opening ourselves to the truth without protecting our pride, we invite rapid growth and untapped emotional freedom. You will find the boundaries of what you fear, what you can become, and how bravely you respond, shifting forward. Every criticism, every honest reckoning becomes an opportunity, a mirror held to your inner world where real improvement begins. Far from humiliation, this process brings liberation. The chains that once held you back fall away, replaced by an unshakable peace that comes from facing life exactly as it is, not as you wish it to be. This shift does not come all at once, but with practice, acceptance grows gentle, and self-awareness becomes an ally, not an adversary. With each truth faced, you build a quiet invincibility, like the still reflecting lake that cannot be broken by passing storms. Your mind trains itself to welcome lessons from every source, transforming wounds into wisdom and challenges into stepping stones. With every layer of ego put aside, you step more freely into your power. The silent Stoic watching his reflection, ready to unlock the deeper self that practicality and humility reveal. By holding yourself accountable with compassion rather than cruelty, you begin to move through life not untouched by difficulty, but unfazed, undefeatable, from knowing that nothing true, no matter how sharp, has the power to harm a mind trained to welcome reality. Whenever you encounter criticism or a difficult truth, pause, breathe, and ask yourself what useful insight is present. Journaling these moments and your honest responses will build resilience and clarity over time. With steady practice, self-awareness replaces fear and blame. In our next lesson, you'll discover how to separate emotion from the event itself. Share your experiences and stay connected for deeper growth. Lesson 3. Isolating emotion from the event. Visualize a river running swift and clear through a quiet valley. It rushes past rocks and roots, sometimes churning into rapids, sometimes gliding still and mirror-like. In life too, events pass through us. They arrive swiftly, catch us off guard, then vanish. Yet, just as a fallen branch might disrupt the flow and create turmoil in the stream, our unchecked emotions can muddy what might otherwise be a simple current. The subtle art of emotional mastery begins with recognizing that the river is not defined by what falls into it, nor are we defined by the emotional sediment that events stir within us. Every day brings moments when circumstances grab us, tug at us, and try to sweep us under. A harsh word, a sudden setback, an unexpected loss. We know the feeling, a heart that races, tightness in the chest, thoughts spinning, a wave of anger, sadness, or fear threatening to overtake the calm within. This is a struggle we all know. Too often, we conflate what happens to us with the storm it evokes internally. When someone criticizes us unfairly, we take on the sting as a matter of truth, letting it color our mood and actions. When a door closes on a long-sought opportunity, we see not just the loss itself, but allow feelings of inadequacy or despair to settle over us, as though misfortune were proof of personal failure. Our emotions swirl together with the facts until it's impossible to tell where the event ends and our reaction begins. This tangle can grow stronger with every experience, until a single setback shapes our entire self-image and clouds our ability to respond wisely to challenges. The pain points are real. Overreactions, impulsive decisions, missed chances to address the actual problem, guilt or regret over words and actions taken in a moment of unchecked emotion. Ancient Stoics saw the storm of emotion not as a curse, but as a consequence of a simple confusion, believing that events themselves, rather than our thoughts about them, dictate our state of mind. They taught that pain and joy, anger and calm, rise not from what happens outside us, but from the judgments we attach to what occurs. The Stoic transformation comes when we isolate emotion from the event, untangling the raw happening from the storm of meaning we wrap around it. Imagine yourself as an archer. The wind shakes your arrow from its path, a missed shot. The event is neutral, impersonal, like wind passing through leaves. Yet, how often do we interpret the wind as scandal, or failure as a verdict on our worth? The Stoic archer learns to judge the moment for what it is, not expanding a fleeting setback into a personal defeat. In this light, setbacks and slights lose their power to define your emotional world. This perspective does not ask you to become cold or unfeeling. Rather, it invites a gentle curiosity about your internal responses. When an event occurs, pause and simply name it. This is what happened. Then, notice your reaction arise and say, this is what I'm feeling. This small act of separation is mighty, a gate through which self-mastery enters. Emotional control does not require repression, but clarity. Over time, this practice unlocks a quiet strength within you, a sense of freedom in responding thoughtfully, not reactively. The benefits ripple outward. You make fewer hasty decisions you later regret. Words spoken in anger give way to careful speech, and your sense of self remains grounded, undisturbed by shifting tides. Like a ship guided across uncertain seas, you become the silent captain, steady in your bearing, learning from each gust, but steering your course with calm purpose. Life's turbulence no longer possesses the power to drown you, because you have claimed authority over what happens within. As this skill grows, a strange and beautiful peace follows. Situations that once would have triggered fear or overwhelm are now seen for what they are: temporary, impersonal, manageable. The drama loosens, replaced by calm observation. Old fears lose their grip, replaced by the confidence that you have choices even amidst the storm. This is what the Stoics called ataraxia, the undisturbed mind, the anchored heart. To master this art is to discover the still fire burning within, the silent force that marks the truly undefeatable soul. Life remains demanding, but you become more than a bystander. Now you are the quiet architect of your own response, training your mind daily, lighting a clear path through the sometimes murky currents of experience. When an event triggers strong emotion, pause. Describe the event honestly, identify your immediate feeling, and separate the two in your mind. This practice brings emotional clarity and calm, letting you respond wisely instead of simply reacting. Next, we'll learn to reframe failure itself. Share your reflections below and stay connected for more powerful Stoic insights. Lesson 4. Reframing failure into new direction. At dawn, a traveler stands at a crossroad veiled in mist. To one side lies the path he intended, clear and familiar, but now suddenly blocked by a fallen tree, unexpected, discouraging. For a moment, he stands still, uncertain, facing the chill disappointment of being forced to change direction. Yet, as the mist lifts, a new, untraveled way appears, one he never noticed before, inviting curiosity and growth. Failure in life often arrives just like this, uninvited and shrouded in heaviness, casting doubt over all that once seemed sure. We all know the sinking feeling of plans falling apart, opportunities vanishing, or our efforts proving fruitless just when we most need a breakthrough. The heart clenches, the mind races. What now? The fear of wasted time or the sting of embarrassment quietly creeps in, tightening its grip. While we stand, for a while, at a loss, there is a deeply human urge in these moments to shrink away or to fixate on regret, replaying every wrong step as if it were a permanent mark on the story of who we are. Perhaps it's a job interview that went poorly, a project that collapsed after months of work, or a personal relationship that could not be saved no matter how much we tried. You may feel crushed, doubting your judgment, resenting the outcome, or wondering if your road now has an ending instead of a fresh turn ahead. This turmoil is the inner conflict every growing person faces, the battle between the pain of failing and the faint hope that it might still amount to something worthwhile. Some try to simply move on, shutting out their disappointment, but like a wound left bandaged without care, it never quite heals. Others spiral into self-reproach, letting failure define them, turning every lost opportunity into proof of mediocrity. Both responses blind us to something precious: the power to reframe. Stoic wisdom whispers that the road is never truly closed, only redirected. The art of reframing is the mind's most powerful tool, one that transforms the image of a dead end into the seed of possibility. It is the ability to stand before failure unflinching and ask, what door has this truly closed, and what new doors does it reveal? The Stoics did not believe that setbacks determined one's value. Instead, they saw obstacles as the world's quiet invitation, an urging to look anew at what lies ahead. To reframe is not to deny the pain or pretend an event didn't happen. It is to consciously change the story you attach to the outcome. Imagine the archer missing his target in a dense fog. Rather than seeing only distance missed, he considers what this shot teaches: a different posture, a new calculation of wind, or a need to redefine the true goal itself. By looking at what failed through a lens of curiosity, he discovers technique, character, and creative adaptation that success alone could never yield. This practice of reframing turns setbacks into silent teachers, not just for tactics, but for identity. In losing what we hoped for, we become open to lessons about patience, perseverance, and the unpredictable route that true fulfillment often takes. Over time, you learn that the pain of falling does not mean you're broken. It means you are invited to seek a novel pathway, to shed unhelpful expectations, or to develop strength in new, unexpected directions. Consider the ship crowded by a sudden storm, blown off course to shores never plotted. What seems at first disaster may hold treasures, friendships, and wisdom only found by risking the unknown. Choosing to deliberately reinterpret failure creates flexibility of mind, a trait prized by those who want true emotional control, unwavering discipline, and the ability to withstand discouragement with quiet determination. In this way, failure ceases to be a sentence. It becomes a signpost, pointing toward growth, untapped ability, and a future worth pursuing even more than the first imagined one. When we reframe with courage, we unlock greater creative power. We attract new opportunities, develop undefeated confidence, and little by little become skilled at turning obstacles into stepping stones. Our minds trained by practice, honed by hope. When you face failure, pause to breathe, ask what new possibility it reveals, and journal one lesson you can act on today. Reframing this way will spark hope, sharpen resilience, and grow your sense of direction. Next, we'll explore building discipline from every defeat. Please share your experiences below and help our Stoic community inspire each other onward. Lesson 5. Building discipline from every defeat. In the silent pre-dawn before light brings form to the world, a blacksmith lifts his hammer. Iron is shaped through repeated strikes across the glowing anvil. Every blow, every resistance is essential, not accidental. Your character, like that iron, is formed when you return, time after time, to confront defeat and disappointment with bare hands and open eyes. The path of emotional mastery and real self-discipline looks remarkably like this ancient process. Long, determined, sometimes repetitive, always purposeful. Yet for many, developing discipline in the wake of defeat is a complex, private struggle. Memories of past failures often form invisible shackles, discouraging another attempt, whispering that persistence breeds only more pain. You may set out bravely, full of resolve, only to falter at the first sign of setback. In the uncertain light after losing, self-doubt looms like a restless shadow. Why try again? Or, what if I am simply not built for discipline or consistency? These thoughts grip even the proudest souls, fueling frustration, half-finished efforts, and cycles of giving up when the journey gets hard. This is a problem many know, but seldom admit. We all crave mastery, whether it's over our emotions, habits, craft, or relationships. Still, the repeated sting of defeat can drain the will, each slip-up resounding louder than the countless small victories. Perhaps you have promised yourself to wake early, focus deeply, speak with more kindness, or pursue a demanding goal. Yet, when routine falters or obstacles rise, old patterns reassert themselves, eroding confidence. For some, the expectation that discipline should feel natural only compounds shame when progress slows or reverses. Discipline seems a distant virtue, something only the Stoic, untouchable few truly embody, while the rest of us measure our progress mostly in regret. This cycle can convince us that defeat is proof of personal inadequacy, not a stage in an ongoing transformation. Here's where the wisdom of the Stoics becomes revolutionary. They believed defeat was not an ending, but an invitation, a furnace that tempers rather than destroys. The Stoic solution is to see every fall not as a failure of character, but as raw material for practice. Each setback is another swing of the hammer to mold our will. Each unfinished task, a lesson that reveals where our habits or expectations must be refined. Imagine a sailor crossing open waters with no end in sight. After each misdirection, instead of despairing, he learns to read the subtle signs of the sea more closely, adjusting course with calm resolve. The journey stretches onward, guided by accumulated wisdom, not paralyzed by past mistakes. Discipline, then, is not an inborn trait, but a craft, forged each day by facing difficulty and choosing, again and again, to rise, reflect, and persist. This approach grants fresh hope. By viewing setbacks as blueprints for future attempts, the sting of defeat is softened, transformed into the energy needed to come back stronger. With this mindset, you become the athlete who studies every missed step, the archer who records each errant shot, the musician who patiently returns to the difficult passage. The pain of imperfection shifts, becoming the incentive to try, tweak, and work a little harder, rather than a weight dragging you down. Within every lost chance lies a seed. Information about yourself, your tendencies, and your weak points that, when recognized and addressed, actually unlock greater mastery the next time you face the fire. Rather than avoiding difficulty, you gradually learn to welcome it, quietly without drama, as the only forge worthy of a disciplined soul. Gradually, defeat loses its power to control you. The more you practice this mindful response, the more your mind is trained to embrace the true process of mastery. Progress, setback, reflection, effort renewed. This cycle becomes not a punishment, but a promise, as certain and dependable as the rising sun or the rhythm of hammer on anvil. With patience and compassion, you develop emotional control so lasting that you can withstand any storm without losing your way. And as discipline grows with each endured setback, the attraction and influence you radiate to others deepen, drawing respect and sparking the hope that they too can reshape their lives, no matter how many times defeat has visited them before. Through each quiet act of persistence, you become, in spirit, a silent Stoic, the architect of your own undaunted will, ready to face the uncertain world again and again. Each time you stumble, pause and write down what went wrong and what you can improve, then try once more with intention. Practicing this method fuels discipline and builds quiet confidence that grows after every defeat. Soon, setbacks become launching points. Up next, we'll discover how adversity can clarify your purpose, share your own experiences, and help others press on. Lesson 6. Strengthening purpose through adversity. In the heart of a storm, as the sky thrashes and rain lashes the window, a single candle burns with unwavering light. Its flame stands tall, not because it is shielded, but because it knows how to endure the wind, drawing strength not in spite of the tempest, but because of it. Our sense of purpose, too, faces storms, tests that can seem overwhelming in the moment, yet contain a hidden power to mold our deepest resolve. Many of us move through life guided by intentions that seem clear until the sky darkens. We pursue dreams, jobs, or relationships, hoping that steady progress will make our direction ever brighter. But when setbacks surge or obstacles refuse to break, uncertainty creeps quietly in. Every passionate pursuit is eventually shadowed by doubt, disruption, or fatigue, and we are forced to confront the question, am I truly dedicated to this path, or was my conviction only as deep as the tranquil days allowed? This inner conflict is universal. Even the strongest lose their spark, especially when their goals clash with repeated adversity. Have you ever felt driven at first, inspired and clear, only to feel untethered as repeated hardship made your purpose seem foggy or unreachable? Perhaps you've poured yourself into a project, a cause, or a personal transformation only to encounter one challenge after another. Misunderstood efforts, lack of support, setbacks that sap your energy and shake your motivation. Eventually, disappointment takes on the shape of a weight. Your purpose, once a beacon, now flickers uncertainly in the wind. This sense of doubt is easily compounded by mistakes or unexpected failures. You may ask, do my setbacks prove I'm pursuing the wrong goal? Am I simply weak or destined to give up along the way? But what if, as the Stoics saw, real purpose is not tested despite adversity? It is revealed and strengthened because of it. The solution is not to seek easier circumstances, but to use every trial as the exact means through which your purpose matures and becomes unshakable. The Stoic approach is radical. See obstacles as the proving grounds for conviction. Imagine a ship charting its course through an unknown sea. In calm waters, even the most novice sailor appears skilled. But when the waves rise high and threaten to swamp the deck, it is only a captain who remembers why he sails, the reason written in his heart, who can steady his hand and guide his ship forward. So too with your purpose. Adversity exposes empty intentions, but it fires true commitment as surely as flames hone steel. When difficulties arise, instead of recoiling or doubting your goal, ask, what deeper value does this setback call me to reaffirm? What can I extract from this hardship to make my resolve even greater? As you practice this, your sense of purpose becomes an anchored force rather than a passing mood. Every difficult day, failed attempt, or unexpected turn becomes a test that invites you to look deeper, find the values behind your goals, and reconnect with what matters most. The temptation to abandon your path is transformed when you see each trial as a mirror reflecting what is genuine and lasting inside you. Purpose itself becomes an act of discipline, not the easy decision to start, but the undaunted will to remain true even when comfort and certainty are gone. Over time, this perspective brings not just greater endurance, but pride, a quiet fire in the soul that says, "I know what I stand for because adversity has helped me prove it." Your mind, thus trained, becomes less fearful of the coming storm. Instead, you move toward challenge with clarity, carrying your vision on, unbroken and ever more attractive to others who see your silent commitment burning even in the darkest of times. This is not simply surviving hardship, it is using adversity to unlock and amplify the ultimate source of meaning in your life. In doing so, you live as the Stoics did, undefeated in spirit, your quiet purpose guiding you through all that the unpredictable world delivers. When adversity hits, pause and write down what value or deeper motivation your struggle reveals, then intentionally link your next action to that purpose. Each time you do this, you'll find greater clarity and renewed drive. Soon, each challenge will strengthen, not shake your resolve. In our final lesson, learn how Stoic clarity guides you to rise after every fall. Lesson 7. Rising again with Stoic clarity. A mountain cloaked in mist stands silent as dawn touches its highest peak. Throughout the night it faced roaring wind, cold rain, even thunder, yet it waits, quietly unmoved, to greet the first gentle light. This is what rising again looks like for the disciplined soul. Less a dramatic sprint, more a steady return to unwavering presence, shaped by hardship but not reduced by it. Every one of us will fall, will stumble, will break or be broken by events we do not control. Some defeats are loud, leaving scars. Others are so quiet they are hidden in the dust of daily effort. Yet at the heart of emotional mastery and true self-discipline is how you rise, not just whether you do, but the spirit and clarity you bring as you stand upright once more. Many struggle with this process. In the aftermath of failure, loss, or disappointment, shadows grow long and directions seem to blur. Perhaps you have found yourself lost after a major setback, unsure what step to take, haunted by doubts about your past choices or future abilities. Sometimes the pain of defeat is less about what has happened and more about what it seems to say about you. It can feel as though the world moves on while you remain stuck inside your own landscape of rumination, regret, or shame. The mind turns over questions. Why didn't I see this coming? Will I ever be able to recover? Am I finished? Or is my determination just another illusion? Rising again is hard not only because of the practical need to restart, but also due to the internal battle with self-doubt, exhaustion, and fractured confidence. Our culture often celebrates comeback stories, praising the dramatic bounce back. But in private, we know that renewal does not happen quickly. Returning to clarity and motion after falling requires both patience and wisdom. And here the ancient Stoic approach offers a path that is quiet, intentional, and deeply transformative. The heart of the problem is not the fall itself. It's the lingering fog that shrouds our ability to see the next step, or to trust that another ascent is worthwhile. Not knowing how to begin again is itself a source of pain, keeping many anchored at the base of the mountain, gazing upward but never setting out. What if, instead, you could replace the cycle of hesitation and self-blame with a simple, clear practice that brings you gently back to your path, regardless of where you've landed? The Stoic solution is rooted in deliberate self-reflection and in the art of claiming your agency, no matter how small it feels in this moment. Imagine for a moment a ship captain steering through dense fog after being blown far off course by a sudden storm. Instead of waiting for perfect visibility, the captain checks his compass, sets a bearing, even if only for the next minute, and trusts with each humble adjustment that every effort shapes a return. This is Stoic clarity, a willingness to acknowledge exactly where you are, to honestly accept both your setbacks and remaining strength, and to choose the plainest, next right action from where you now stand. The core idea is simple but powerful. Instead of demanding a dramatic restoration, accept and act on the smallest certainty you can find, building forward day by day. Adopting this mindset is transformative. Clarity does not mean ambition without fear or optimism without reason. Rather, clarity is a quiet confidence in your present perception and a willingness to let each step shape your direction as you move again. This reframing untangles you from tormenting comparisons or the need for grand declarations of progress. It invites you to anchor your sense of self not in avoiding defeat, but in learning how to rise mindfully after each fall, whether public or private. Each time you do so, you master your emotion, strengthen your discipline, and turn your renewed movement into a beacon. As you grow to trust this quiet process, the noise of your defeats fades away, and the light of new self-respect begins to cut through the lingering mist. In time, you become, like the mountain at sunrise, a figure of silent strength, undeviated by storm, lit by your willingness to start anew, and utterly undefeatable. The journey may not always be straight, but as you train your mind in this way, every ascent teaches you how to meet life's next challenge with even greater clarity and calm. When you fall, pause and notice exactly where you are. Name your feelings, choose one small, clear step, and begin again with patience. This approach rebuilds confidence and calm, transforming setbacks into ongoing growth. The more you practice, the stronger and more focused you'll feel. Start today and inspire others by sharing your resilience and new clarity. You have now explored powerful Stoic strategies for transforming failure into fuel. Embracing setbacks, facing hard truths, separating emotion from event, reframing defeat, building discipline, strengthening purpose, and rising with clarity. Thank you for watching and growing with us. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe for more empowering lessons.